everyone, this is Gayle. Welcome to my channel tonight, my big Bodacious community. My name is Gayle Crabtree, and I bid you welcome. You are probably going to be seeing some noses pop in from time to time, or a specific nose, let me say, attached by two little floppy ears, and that would be Pacer. You can see Pepsi's little tail back here. Hey. Hey. So I hope everyone is having a great weekend. This is the September 11 weekend, and I know that there are some activities being planned in different areas to commemorate that for tomorrow. So just want to give a little plug there for you to check out in your community to see what's going on and, find a way to commemorate that. Okay. So right now I am going to put out some, I'll put out a couple of links here. Make sure our folks have it, especially over in our Facebook group. We have an awesome group there, and if you are not a part of it, then I want to invite you to be a part of it because the folks over there are great. And I'm going to toss that link in the description box right now. Before we get too much further along, that's facebook.com/groups/Gayle Vlogs. Because I'm Gayle and I vlog. So there we go. So it's in there. And, oh, hey, I see we've been joined by Gloria. Hi, Gloria, and welcome. I hope your weekend is going well. And let's see. We've got the tail wagging going on here. So some of y'all may be new that are coming in, and I welcome you. Just to give kind of a brief little overview, if you will. This channel is about travel and lifestyle, and I do a lot of different things. You'll find me doing van life, doing road trips, RV. Gosh, we've got a travel trailer. You'll see me out in the travel trailer RV, and I go with my service dog because I have foot drop and a disability from it. So my service dog really helps me out. And so you'll see all of that on this channel, and you're welcome to join us. Also on Saturday nights at 7, like tonight, we do the live streams where we kind of talk about, whatever's going on and whatever you want to talk about. So, generally I'll have a topic to discuss, but, we also will talk about whatever is on your mind. So, oh, good grief. Yes, that is, believe it or not, y'all, that's the alarm to remind me about the live stream. And it just kicked off a little late there, but that's okay. The thing is, I have a head injury, so I set alarms sometimes to keep me on track, like that one, except it works about as well as it usually does, and I am not on track. But anyway, what can I say about that? Oh, and also sometimes on the live streams on Saturday, sometimes we'll do giveaways, and we'll have like some travel and trivia questions that we'll do. And oh, Gloria says he's cute too. Thank you, Gloria. I think so. He's a mess though. I don't know. He has this tendency to get into things like he's not supposed to be doing whatever it is he's doing right now. So, hey, come out. Go to Dad.
Hey, sir, come. Pepsi, come. Good dog.
There we go. Husband's trying to rename the dog over here. Anyhow, he is now with my husband, so he is going to get to go throw a ball. And one of the things that I get asked pretty frequently about him being a service dog is, do service dogs get to play? And the answer is yes, they get their dog time, as somebody referred to it with me. And that is, he gets to go out and chase balls. He gets to run around in circles. He can, bark at whatever's out there to bark at. Usually it's the groundhog, but he gets to go have fun and do whatever, a regular dog would do. So he goes outside. He's with my husband right now, so they'll be going out and doing that. It's just that during the rest of the time, when he's not outdoors, then he's working. But that doesn't mean he's like working every second of the day. Like, he retrieves dropped items. So if he hears something hit the floor, then boom, he's on it. If I am having problems with my foot drop that day and I'm a little unsteady, then as I get up and go around the house to do things, or as we go to Walmart or places like that, a restaurant, movie theater, then he will spring into action and he'll walk next to me. If I start to stumble, he'll lean up against me. So he's working, but it's like being on the job at work. You have times where you've got some times when you're not as busy as others. So, and when we go out places, certainly he's on the job and he's working then. Oh, and I have to tell you, last night, oh my gosh, we had the neatest experience. So there's a little town not too far from us called Mountain City, Tennessee. And let's see, we're in Virginia, so it's about an hour away. And they have a neat little theater. So what this town has done is they have taken like their 100-year-old theater from their old high school, and they have recreated it and refurbished it, I should say. And that is now it's a working theater where they have plays and musicians and different acts come in. Well, last night was our first night actually out in a bigger event with a service dog team. So what we did was we headed on over to Mountain City, Tennessee to go to Heritage Hall. Really pretty, real cute place. And the town is cute, and there's tons of like little local restaurants that you can go to, which we wound up actually not eating out, which is kind of weird. But anyway, we went and saw the Everly Brothers Experience. And that is done by the Zamed brothers and a couple of other people, one on drums, one on guitar, backing them up. And it was phenomenal. I've got some photos that I'm going to be posting on Instagram later. And oh my gosh, those are going to come out Monday. And we just had the best time. We were nice and relaxed and just really could enjoy it. And so they kind of took us through the history of the Everly Brothers, which was so cool because you got the benefit of the concert, but the education about some of the people they had worked with and some of the things that they had done. And it was so cool. It was really neat. And the audience, oh my gosh, they just like really got into it. So it was really neat. The thing about the area is that it's kind of the origins of really early country music and things like that. So a lot of people are from this general region that became popular in the super early days of country music, especially if you start talking about like bluegrass and so forth. Or they were from other areas and then they had to move to Tennessee to really launch their career. So it's kind of a big deal. And the Everly Brothers just fits kind of into the backdrop of like the whole town. But it was a cool thing. So if you all ever have a chance to go see the Everly Brothers Experience with the Zamed brothers, then I would encourage you to do that because it was great. Absolutely great. And let's see over here. Going back to the chat for a second. Oh, Gloria says he's cute too. Yes, thank you. He's a little bit, oh, wow. He's cute, but he's also a little bit rotten, shall we say, which is fine with me. So, yeah, there we go. Cute but rotten. That is A-okay. So yeah, on the, what was I going to say? Gloria, I'm sorry. My brain just, yeah. See, not only do I have a head injury, but I have this COVID stuff going on. It's called long COVID, and it makes your brain really fuzzy. And so that's part of what's going on. So anyway, but if you have a chance to go see the Everly Brothers Experience, do. It's a nice night. It's not as exciting as like going to see, like U2 or Metallica. It's not got that kind of energy, but it's a really good show. It's yeah. So what can I say? It's fun. So, and let's see here. Okay, Stellar Piper, who's one of our regulars, she says that she is not going to be in here. She is playing, or not playing, but having some kind of dinner party, and so she won't be here. So, but anyhow, let me type her a little note there. I'm going to tell her that she's missed and see if I can apply the guilt. Stellar Piper also is my daughter. Just saying. So, alrighty. I'm messaging her. Let her know that she is missed. So yeah. Let's see what else I was gonna say. Yeah, I'm stumbling around. I can't believe this. So talked about Mountain City, talked about September 11th. So go to events. If you were anywhere near like Upper East Tennessee, Smoky, I shouldn't say upper. If you're around the Smoky Mountains this weekend, be prepared for the roar of jets because they have an air show. And oh yeah, thank you, Gloria. She is missed. She's really sweet. They're having an air show. I'm just going to type in a double check and see. I don't want to say who's performing without double checking. It's the Smoky Mountain Air Show. This is not the first time that they have done it. It's sponsored by Denso, which is a major corporation, and it's happening like all around the airport, McGee Tyson Airport, which is outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. And this is the second time that they've done this. It's also a fundraiser. So the proceeds from this are going to Second Harvest Food Bank, and I think it's the Boys and Girls Club. And the thing is, even if you can't afford to go to the air show, here's a little tidbit here. If for some reason you can't afford it. Now, on this air show, there is no general admission cost, but on some air shows there might be. And if you can't afford it, you can go and you can park close to the air show and you can still see the planes flying over. You're not going to get the benefit of the static displays, which is what they call the displays that, that are not up in the air. They're not moving. They're there. Yeah, so you won't have benefit of those, but you'll still get to see the airplanes flying above, and it won't be as crowded. So a lot of times what they do with the air shows is they will have no cost general admission, but like, where do you park? So depending on how far you want to walk or whatever, you may or may not want to buy a parking pass. And that's where the air shows will make some of their money, is on parking passes. And they can range in various prices. And I've seen them on Groupon and places like that. Not necessarily for this air show. I actually haven't checked Groupon, but I've seen it for many other air shows. And you can get lower cost parking that way. But I'm just pulling it up to make sure before I say anything. Yes, the Smoky Mountain Air Show, it is today and tomorrow. So if you're around, go tomorrow. And they say to arrive early and to expect traffic delays. That is standard with every single air show that I have ever been to. Okay. And there are some amazing, amazing air shows. So, yes, they are saying they have parking passes available, and they have a limited number of accessible parking passes. And that just simply means handicapped parking spaces. So it's kind of a change in terminology than what some people are used to, in that we're kind of transitioning from calling it handicapped to calling it accessible. So they're at the accessible parking spaces on this air show are at the Tennessee Air National Guard base, and those lots are paved. So I have parked there before for another air show like years ago, and it was pretty cool. They also have reserved seating that you can get for $75, but a lot of people just bring blankets, or they'll bring like those little camping chairs, things like that. So yeah, so if you get a chance to go, do the performers include like all kinds of aerial demonstration teams from different air shows, acrobatic acts. In this one, the U.S. Army Golden Knights parachute team is going to be there, which is really, really cool. And the really big, cool draw, in addition to the Army Golden Knights parachute teams, it's the U.S. Navy Blue Angels demonstration team, which is like, they are just freaking fabulous. You know, what these people do in the airplanes to make them do all of this high-powered stuff really just amazes me. It is just, you should go. If you can't go to the Smoky Mountain Air Show this weekend, then you just need to go to an air show at some time, because they are just absolutely, they're out there. They're amazing. And, you know, it's a good, wholesome family entertainment to go, and we need more of that. So, yeah, do think about that. And, you know, a lot of places, you know, you can bring snacks and so forth. No coolers usually, and no, you know, you can't bring your own tents or big umbrellas or anything like that. No coolers. Backpacks are something that fewer places are letting you take in just because of the security, and there's never any like glass or aluminum cans. But you can bring in like your own snacks and some sandwiches and things like that. So also something that's usually not allowed are hoverboards and skates and skateboards and things like that. So just thought I'd mention that. And of course, you know, something you have to think about in Tennessee is carry. And a lot of people want to conceal carry or open carry and so forth. And of course, that's not allowed. Hey, Women's Station Channel says, sorry I'm late. I had to put a cake in the Instapot. Okay. Okay. This is something I want to know about. How do you do a cake in an Instapot? That sounds so cool. So anyway, so that's good on the air show. I just wanted to tell y'all about that. And if you get a chance to go, please do. Please do. They're a lot of fun. They're wholesome. Yeah. And let's see here. What's going on? Oh, I got a little Facebook message coming in, but it's not relating to the live stream. So let me just tell them I will see them later. So how do you do a cake in an Instapot? Okay, here we go. She followed a cookbook that she borrowed from the library. Huh. I need to go to our library. I'm ashamed to say that I have not been home long enough to go to libraries, because I'm always out and about, you know, especially like lately with the new grandbaby, and we were out in the van camper and just, just haven't been home. But I gotta say too that Women's Station Channel, she does a lot of really cool things with her Instapot. So check out her Instagram feed, Women's Station Channel, if you want to put your Instagram link in the description box. I'm sorry, in the chat box here. What am I saying? Then go ahead and do that. So I really need to see if there are some recipes like that that I can do in the van. And I'm actually doing a series of little videos. Well, I'm cooking several items in this little grill that I have that I can cook in the van, and there's going to be a little video coming up about that, about the different things that I can cook in the van on this little miniature nostalgia grill. I really like it. It's got like 600 watts. It's not super big. It's kind of small. If you've seen those street tacos at the store, that fits that little grill just perfectly. So I'm doing some videos on that. I'm just going to compile them into one video. So that way you can see like how I cook some of the things in the van. And that'll be out, give me a couple of weeks. And then next week, I have the video out on how I installed water in the van. Running water. Yes, I actually have running water in my van build. That's the neat thing about being able to do a DIY build, is you can have things exactly like you want them. And I wanted running water. So we got that. Hey, Candy, the wee service dog, is here. So hi, Candy. How are you? I hope you are having a good weekend too. I hope so. I hope so. And going back to the van camper, Lori asked me a question the other day about showering, and I actually have a little USB rechargeable shower, and so it's a shower and it's a pump, and I'll show you all one of these days how that works. But it's really cool, and these things are not super expensive. So for van life, I like to keep it inexpensive because I'm a very cheap person. And cooking helps me. So I've got solar on the van, which is 200 amp hours of solar, and I can do a fair amount with that. So I've got the air conditioner that I can do if I need to or want to. I got a couple of hours out of it. It's a little more energy efficient than the previous one. So I can get a couple of hours out of it, or I can do the cooking in the little grill, or I can warm up a little bit of water in the hot pot, things like that. Sometimes when I'm out, I don't use the hot pot for heating up water. I'll use my little solar oven, which is it's a DIY solar oven. And don't laugh, but it works. I did a video on it where I actually heated up water for tea, and it does work. And so I'll sometimes do things like that, but I really like having my showers. So I have that, and I have the stock tank we're using for a bathtub, and I have a flushable camp toilet, which means it's a portable. So yeah. So I've got that in some of the van things. And one of the things too that I wanted about the DIY van is where I have problems with foot drop, I could take my disability into account about when I was building the van. That way I have things like placed where I want them. So like, for example, I've got this big, we're actually calling it a shower cabinet, but it's more to it than that. And as I can hold on to the corner of it if I need to brace, come around, I can hold on to the whole front of the cabinet, and then it's placed where I can also just switch and kind of hold on to the bed. So it's a little bit bigger than some builds have it, but I like the idea of the bathtub, and I really like the idea of being able to hold on to things. So, when you're looking at accessibility and mobility problems, being able to do DIY is great. And I'm saying this because people look at me and they go, "You're in a DIY van build," and it's like they just can't they can't get their minds around it. It is so funny. But anyway, that's just the way life is. I'm going back to the chat here. And by the way, if you have not clicked like on the live stream, please do so. Give me a like. And you can share it with your friends too. Anything on my channel that you want to share on social media, feel free. So, okay. So we're going back. The Instapot Women's Station channel borrowed the book from the library and is following that to do the cake in the Instapot. But do check out her Instagram feed because she's got some really interesting things on there that she has cooked and they all looked great. And as soon as I get to where I'm stopped in a set place for more than like 72 hours, I want to do the yogurt. She does yogurt in the Instapot. It sounds so cool. So we've got Women's Station Channel, Candy the Wee Service Dog, Gloria Cardo. And Women's Station Channel says she put batter in a pan, then in a trivet, and then covered it with tinfoil, which is really cool. And it's Lori Gina Felidia on, on Instagram. She's got that down there. Candy's asking if it's hard to clean. And okay, it's a cookbook from Megan Gilmore. And the Women's Station Channel says, oh, cooking in a van will be neat to see. Most women I watch are doing mostly vegetables only. No, I don't do vegetables only. I took this little girl is really interesting because it's really small, but like it's the perfect size for these Mission Street tacos, for example. And so one of the things I did was I actually cook some little steak pieces to make soft steak tacos, which was really good. I've done scrambled eggs. I've cooked bacon in it. I did some toast in it, but I didn't let the bread stay in as long as I needed to. It still tasted good, but it took a while, so I don't know if I'll do that again. But yeah, some things like that. Let's see. Oh, what else? Oh, I did some sausage. I cooked a piece of sausage. The sausage was pre-cooked, but I went ahead and like heated it because you can buy those packages of pre-cooked sausage. There's like 8 pieces in them, and sometimes Walmart will have them marked down to like $2. So, I've done that. So, there are a number of things. You can do vegetables in it. I've done some like little stir fry and things like that. So, oh, it is a pain to clean. Well, oh, hey, Valerie Reese is in. Hi, Valerie. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, and Women's Station Channel saying the Instapot is a pain to clean, but she's accustomed herself to it. And sometimes if things are a pain to clean, depending on what you're doing, it might be worth it. Like it may be a pain, but I'm still going to try the yogurt. Now my husband got the Instapot thinking that he would just love it. He has not. So, but he knows how to take it apart and clean it. So honestly, I'll probably try making the yogurt and he'll probably try cleaning it. So Women's Station Channel says, I hear you, Valerie. I have the same problem. A slow cooker is easier, but the Instapot seems to have more flavor, which helps me with sensory issues. That makes sense. And yes, I heat the milk for the yogurt maker in the Instapot. There we go. Okay, Candy says she needs things that are easy to care for because of the neuropathy in her hands and wrists. Yep. Pre-cooked sausages are great. Yep. They make life easier. So, yep, there we go. And Candy's saying that her hands cause her to drop things frequently. So we've got to keep all of our challenges in mind. Oh, and Valerie says she's knitting and listening. Thank you, Valerie. And Valerie does some really cute knitted stuff, and we have got so many talented people in this community It's just wow. So over on Facebook, if you all are not, if somebody listens to this later and you're not part of the Facebook community, then you really should join it because we've got a lot of really talented folks over there, and it's just amazing to see what you do. Like Valerie knitted some stuff for my grandbaby, and they were so cute. But the hedgehog that she knitted like brought the house down. Okay, so cute, so cute. And we've also got Laurel, who is an artist and does a lot of crochet work. So she's got things over there too. And yeah. And then, of course, Women's Station Channel, she is talented in a different way. In addition to cooking, she's a singer, songwriter, and speaker. So got a lot of neat folks here. And let's see, Women's Station Channel says soup is a great, easy thing to make in the Instapot, Gayle. That would be good. We actually just made soup tonight, so we have it pretty often. So we made some vegetable soup. It's kind of getting toward the end of the summer with the gardens. So we had some folks that brought us some vegetables, and I'm like throwing the maters in and throwing in the squash and the zucchini and the corn, you know, trying to have a really nice dinner. Maybe I'll just use my microwave. You know, that is something that I actually don't use that often is I don't use my microwave at all, hardly. I don't know why. I just don't use it much. So, Candy, do you do a lot of different things in yours? I know sometimes I'll just, like reheat something or zap a hot dog, but if it's much more than that, I'm dragging out, the oven and stuff. Although I do have, when I say oven, we've got the big oven, but I also have a little toaster oven because I'm like, I don't really want to heat up the ginormous oven for like 2 biscuits, Yeah. And let's see. Oh, Lori said she was interested in the solar oven. I'm going to see if I can pull that up. I'm going to be doing another video on it, but yeah, it's a pretty neat little gadget. I think it would be good too if you're in a warmer climate. I think the solar oven has potential for the homeless to have because they would have something you can do. I tend to just do like ramen or pasta or do some rice in it, the tea, but you can do a lot more things. So I'm gonna drop the link. I tell you what, I'll drop it in the over here in the chat, but I'll also link it down below in the description box. It's super easy to make, super, super, super easy to make. You basically just take a really thick box and some insulative material, whether you're rolling up pieces of newspaper or you've got some batting, something like that, and then you put that in the box, and then you line it all with aluminum foil so that so that the sun rays are facing inward. And then you use an oven bag, or at least I use an oven bag, and put the item that I'm cooking, whether it's the ramen or water for tea or whatever, I put that in the black pot and put that into an oven bag and come back in a little bit and it's done. But it really works better in a warmer climate. I'm here in the mountains of Southwest Virginia, and it's really not quite hot enough to pull it. So, but out west, you have where it's warmer. It really functions much better. In fact, I think I was in Oregon when I made this video of doing tea in it, but I've also done ramen in it in Texas. Flipped out my husband because he didn't think it would work. So he goes there's a museum we always stop at. It's an Air and Space Museum, Stafford Air and Space. It is a really neat place. So I had already been there, and I was like, we had the dog with us and stuff. So I'm like, I'll walk the dog and stuff. So you can go in there. We had Tomlin with us, which was my previous service dog. And I said, you can go in there because I was just there like 2 years ago and had spent like way too much time in it. And I said, we're on a tight schedule. So the deal was my husband was just going to be in there for a few minutes. He was going to walk around, he said, like an hour max, and he'd be right back out. But I knew that was a lie, see, because you can't go in, or especially he can't go into a museum and only spend an hour, especially like when it's errand space, because it just doesn't happen. So I thought, and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and put lunch on in the solar oven while he's in there doing what he's got to do. So he comes out, and of course, it's been like a couple of hours, and the first thing out of his mouth after, oh, hello, because by this time Tomlin and I are curled up, we're asleep, and he's like, I'm hungry. And I knew it. I knew he would be because he's a husband and that's what they do, right? So I'm like, you're in luck. I just happen to have ramen and we just made this in the solar oven. And he's like, that's not going to work. And I'm like, really? So boom, it worked. And it costs nothing to make. So now some people go ahead and they'll do like cakes and biscuits and stuff like that in it. I'm not that good. I just want dinner, or tea like that. So let's see. I want to going back here to the chat. We've got Candy's talking about just using your microwave, which is good. I'll get some hints from you on that. Okay, Valerie says she's making some hedgehogs and things for a craft fair in November. All proceeds will benefit the Black Friday charity. Okay, let's take just a minute and talk about the Black Friday charity fundraiser. I'll get to that in just a minute. Women's Station channel doesn't like microwaves. If you make meal 4 or 5 days at a time, these cooking devices, slow cooker and Instapot, it's worth the exhaustion. Soup is really healthy, Gayle. Yeah, I like it, especially, like potato soup and vegetable soup. Oh my gosh. Vegetable soup with fresh vegetables from a garden is like, oh my gosh. And let's see. You have yourself set up with a microwave. That's good for you, Candy. I don't like all the radiation personally for me. Yeah, with me, I think that they've worked on that. I don't think you have too much radiation anymore, although I'm not a microwave expert. I don't know. For me, I just am more likely to just heat up the oven and throw whatever I need to in there. Thanks for the link, Gayle. I've been amazingly watching senior women on the road. Not all are having a good time. A large part of it is mindset and being willing to roll with the punches. Now, I am not a senior woman yet. I will hopefully eventually get there. That's my goal anyway. And you just really, things happen on the road and they can just bring you down. And it can be a big thing or it can be a little thing. Not knowing where to park at night is a big thing. Having your air conditioning go out in Oklahoma when it's 104 degrees, that's a big thing. But just being tired in the grand scheme of things, that is not a big thing. But when you're out on the road, when you're on a road trip, whether you're in a van or an RV, or whether you are traveling in a car and staying in hotels, it's all about being able to roll with the punches and realizing that something is going to go wrong at some point. I'm not saying that everything will go wrong all the time, but you have to go into any trip knowing that something's going to go wrong. And when you acknowledge that, then it actually, for me, takes out some of the anxiety. Like a friend of mine that went with me to Alaska a few years ago, she was getting all nervous and her family was getting all nervous. And she was like, well, what are we going to do if the vehicle breaks down? I said, well, we have to plan for something to go wrong with the van. And she's like, why do you say that? And so I pointed out that in a trip like driving to Alaska, which Valerie, I need to get with you on that. But on a thing like going to Alaska, you are putting a year's worth of mileage on your car. It just happens to be over a couple of months. And most people that I know of anyway don't tend to drive a full year without a check engine light coming on, or having a tire issue that has to be looked at, or having something bigger go wrong with your vehicle. So you plan for that, and you make contingency plans. In our case, for that trip, I have AAA Premier RV with 200 miles of towing. I get one tow at 200. And then the other, like 3 or 4 tows that I get, those are at 100 miles each. But I knew if I got something with 200 miles, then that would be likely to tow me pretty much to a repair shop anywhere. And I made double checked and made sure that AAA worked in Canada too. It's CAA in Canada, and they reciprocate. So then what I turned around and did was, just to make sure that we're okay on the road and we have this contingency, I want to double that. So I went ahead and got her a AAA RV Premier membership right before we left. So not only would I have 200 miles of towing, but she would also have 200 miles of towing that could be used in the event of a breakdown in my car. So basically, we had 2 200-mile tows. And I said, you've just got to go into this with the idea that something's probably going to happen. What's the most likely thing that's going to happen? And then how do we plan for that? So, and if I had not done some planning, this last trip to Alaska it would have finished me off. Because we had bad weather, we had hot weather, we had fires, anything that you can think of, and then some. The one thing we didn't plan on was for the hasp to come out of the trailer door, and it just pulled out. So fortunately, I had double planned I had Tomlin with me, so I had double planned. So I had 2 dog tie out cables. That way, when we stopped at a rest area, I could hitch him up to the back of the van, back into the spot, hitch him up to the back end of the van, and he would have a little bit of length that he could walk around some while I was like redistributing the van or cleaning it and so forth. So where I had planned on 2 of the cables for him, I had one that I could wrap around the trailer, and then he still had one. So double planning. So it's all about, planning and just rolling with the punches and keeping that positive attitude. So anyhow, let me go back here. Oh, I love those. Candy has a small plastic smoothie maker that you can drink out of the blending cup. I have one of those. It's USB rechargeable. It's like the baddest thing on the planet. I love it. And Busy Lady is here. So, hey, Busy. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Okay, Candy says, unfortunately, she can't risk cooking on the stove because I do involuntary movements that can be really dangerous for me. Yeah, we don't want you in a dangerous situation. Just saying. Give me the food right away, put it on my plate before it gets cold. Gotcha. And let's see, Candy use my hands. Women's Station channel, definitely Candy. Using some of these cooking devices would be good for you. If you want to connect with me, I can pass on a couple of easy recipes. Women says she uses the top of her stove to heat up food. And Busy says, listening, but gotta make food. I got you, girl. Thank you for listening. Women's Station channel says there were so many homeless women. And I want to, on this channel, we actually talked about being in a campground and raising your son in a campground. And I've got that video link to the live stream that you guys can check out. Really did a great job raising her son. And Candy says, I have to buy fresh, frozen, cut up food, i.e. veggies and fruit. Gotcha. Wow. Valerie says she definitely wants more info on Alaska. I bagged 1,000 pairs of socks for the trip. That's amazing. That is amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am a little bit slow getting information about Alaska out with traveling and so forth. So I will email you or message you some information. I've got the exact dates now, so I'll email you with that. Freaked out over the cost of the rental car though, just saying, because it's like stupidly expensive right now with rental cars. It looks like they're running about $150 a day. So it was heart failure on that point. Women's Station Channel, Lori is saying there's a soup candy where I use frozen cut up broccoli and cauliflower to make. It's a delicious cheese soup. That sounds good. I love cheese soup. So, Candy, if you try her soup recipe, I want to hear from both of you. Okay, Candy says a herb blender is the plug-in style. Gotcha. Gotcha. I just have, mine's a little bitty USB blender, and it's rechargeable, so it's battery operated, and you just take it anywhere. A link to a good portable smoothie maker would be great. Okay. I can get you that. Hey, Peter Parker is in. No, we're not talking about you. We'll do that next time. So, but welcome. It's good to see you, Peter. And let's see what we got here. That's crazy for a rental car. Yes, it is. It is. It is. What am I doing here? I hit something and my whole screen just went dark for a second. Oops. Okay, I think I got it. I think. Yep, I do. I don't know what I hit though. But it's back. I mean, you all are back here right now. So, yay. I just don't know what I did. Which kind of sums me up some days, right? Okay. Maybe prices will drop by next summer. That actually is next summer prices that I was looking at, but that doesn't mean there won't be a special or something going on. The problem is I was on a conference call about this before I went out to New Mexico. And what has happened is, like during 2020, in order to survive, a lot of the cars, a lot of the rental companies sold off big portions of their fleet. And now we've got a surge in tourism and there are fewer cars. So hopefully, as it stabilizes, prices are going to come down. But like everything else that's going up, you don't know how far they're going to come down. So hopefully, but that's the highest price that we've seen on rental cars on like all of our trips ever. But there's shortages. And like, for example, in May, when my grandbaby came in early, I can't say announced, but when she came in way early and I had to fly on an emergency basis, I couldn't get a rental car. Couldn't get one at all. But Stellar Piper, through her husband, through where he worked, they were able to get a rental car. So, it's a little interesting right now. Last time I rented a car, it wasn't over $50 a day. I'm thinking that they said at the time, they said that the average cost of a hotel room was over $130 without tax. And I want to say that they were saying at that time that the average cost of a rental car was $100 a day. So, and of course, Alaska's higher, unlike everything. They do a lot of taxes on rental cars too, which adds to the beyond the 150. So it's really, it's really interesting. But anyway, Valerie, I'll send that to you right after the live stream. So, and Candy says, I have to make meals with no more than 3 or 4 ingredients due to my hiatal hernia. Yeah, now those hiatal hernias can be, yeah, those are really tough. And you gotta work with that, because I know from experience with family members that if you get something that's too spicy or too greasy, and when I say too spicy or too greasy, I'm not talking about like the whole world standards here. Like, I'm not talking about having to have red chili on your tacos versus green chili, but people who have hiatal hernia problems have their own scale of things that they have to go by. And so from seeing families that have had family members who've had issues with that, I totally feel for you, Candy. Woo! Valerie is going to India. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I hope you have a fabulous time. In March too. Wow. My niece is getting married in India. Woo! That's going to be a cool trip. I hope you have a fabulous time. I also hope you take lots of pictures. Because Valerie goes to some really neat places, y'all. Just saying. So do take that. Now, India can be very, very hot. So is this going to be kind of a cooler time of year? I don't know how it all compares. Oh, they're doing a traditional Indian wedding. Oh, that'll be so cool. That will be so cool, you all. 70 to 80 degrees in March. Wow. I know that in summer in India, they say that it can get over 100. So 70 to 80 sounds amazing. Those are, 70, for me, 70 to 80 is like the ideal travel temperature. I understand. Yeah, we have some people here with similar backgrounds, so you're among friends on that. And I'm talking to Lori with the Women's Station channel there on her comment about the plastic plate. But hiatal hernias can be caused from tons of reasons. So, yep. And let me see here. Okay. So yeah, they can be caused by lots and lots of reasons. You just never know what the world is going to throw at you, but it's going to throw something. And I want to also go back here. I typed in a quick little note to remind myself. I don't want to go too far from what Valerie said about the Black Friday charity. This is an annual event that we do on Black Friday. And so what we do is several channels get together and we have this fundraiser, and the money goes to Valerie's church, and they use it for lots of different ministries that are going on in their church. And the idea is that you will donate to also help the fundraisers. So whatever amount of money your channel makes that day, we want to ask you to donate it, which if you're monetized by YouTube, the chances of you making a lot of money on a particular live stream is like nil. So, whether you make 50 cents that day or $1, we also ask that, if you're promoting it and people want to do some donations, of course, we ask that clearly go to the cause. But her church, like, oh my gosh, they do so much good. So much good. And she can use it for other programs too. So, like, it's gone to an after school feeding program, it's gone to a backpack ministry, it's gone to do school supplies, it's gone to do, coats and things for kids in the winter. So, there's just several things that it goes to. I think it's even been used in the past maybe to help provide Christmas. And it's a really good thing to see the community come together to support it. And like, if you can't support it financially, that's fine. If you can help get the word out, if you can help add watch time and you've got time to come in on some other people's videos and just hang out for a while, even if what you do is come in, say hello, start the video, and then clean your house and come back later, that watch time is huge in a lot of different ways. So if those are the things that you can do, there's just a lot that, and it doesn't always take money to do these things, but it all goes to kids and families in poverty and people in poverty. And, it's a really good thing. A bunch of channels get together. And so it starts on one channel and goes to the next and goes to the next and goes to the next. It can be live streams, it can be premieres. It's a really fun day. And like with me, now I messed up a little bit, you all. I didn't think about the fact that this is me. And when I'm out and about, I sometimes have bad signal issues, and I should have thought more about that. But I did my premiere, I scheduled it, and then I go out and about and I'm doing things, and it's time for my premiere, and I can't pull it up to access my premiere. And I was like totally freaking out because it was scheduled, it was going on. But Valerie and Granny Monsters and some others had my back. And so they were in there, even though I wasn't for a little while. And then finally, about 20 minutes in, I got signal and I could join him. And wow, that was a relief. So it's a very supportive group in general, wouldn't you say, Valerie? So yeah, and if you want to participate, talk to Val. Get the scoop and talk to her, because it is a lot of fun that day, because we try to support everybody else's channels for the fundraiser, and it's just a good way to raise money and even do it kind of for free. If you have no money and you can contribute to the watch time, then you're still helping us raise money. And in the past, we've raised, oh my gosh, I don't want to say how much. Valerie, I'm going to let you talk about, or just type in there, how much money our charity raised, or charity event for charity, I guess I should say, because we're not the charity, we're just trying to raise it. And so yeah, Black Friday. And even if you're traveling, even if you're like me and you may not be home, you can still participate. So, like, I think I was when I finally got a signal, I want to say I was in World Market in line to check out before I finally got a signal. And I was like to the point where I was like fixing to say, Stellar Piper, you take my stuff, you go check out, and then I will meet you at the end of it outside while I'm on the phone trying to do the premiere. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, beautiful Valerie. I switched to Cancun in January, February with a former cheerleader class. Ah, neat. Same temperature, I believe. Yeah. And Valerie's talking about the fundraiser too. She says, yes, indeed. It's so much fun. Busy is here lurking, LOL. So Busy, thank you. That helps. It really does. And let's see. Valerie says she thinks 2 years ago we raised a little over $2,500, which is huge. But any amount helps. If y'all have ever been short on money at any time in your life, then you know that, like, even 10, 20 bucks, heck, even $5 can make a difference. So, and okay, Candy says she has to sleep on a hospital bed at a 45-degree angle to help lessen the chance of aspiration on the stomach contents. My hernia is inoperable, so Candy alerts me before this happens while sleeping. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Now, my younger daughter has stomach problems. She had to have surgery on her stomach when she was a baby. So she does the 45-degree angle too, or at least she's supposed to. I think now that she's, grown and moved out, I think she slips on that sometimes. But when she was under my roof, we made sure that she did that because that's what the docs told her to do, just because of her stomach. So it's really cool that last year we raised $1,500 or so at the Black Friday charity fundraiser. It's so cool. And Gloria says, ouch. So, yeah. And Busy sending a bunch of hearts. So, yay. We all have our little medical things that we have to take care of. And for my younger daughter, she just had a lot of stomach problems. And then we've got Stellar Piper, who's got the epilepsy and brain tumor and stuff. It's just really nice that medicine has progressed enough that they can help, and they can find out things like with Candy's hernia, that something as simple as propping up at night can make a big difference. So, and Valerie says she's hoping the craft fair funds will help out. I hope so too. I hope so too. So, yeah. Okay, so I usually keep this to an hour, and we're there. This has been a fast hour, folks. This has been really fast. Have y'all thought it was fast? Or is it just me? And do definitely give me a like on the live stream. And where did Peter go? Is he still here? I just want to tell him I'm keeping him in prayer too. He's having some health challenges, so. So Peter, if you're listening, just want you to know that, okay? And Lori is saying, oh, wow, Candy, I have to sleep propped up too because of the liquid that drains from my head from injuries. I probably could use a service dog too. Yeah. I have to say that I had Tomlin for almost 13 years, and obviously I've had Pipsy since June. Service dogs are a massive help. They are understated in how much help they can be. I know that Candy has one also, so I know that Laurel can chime in on this too, but it was not until I lost Tomlin that I fully realized how much I relied on him, and part of it was head injury stuff. And now Pipsy's having to learn how to do things like remind me to take my medicines when I forget, because that's something that Tomlin did. And, it's just, yeah, enormously helpful. Doesn't quite sum it up, I think. Plus, it's the security of knowing that someone is there, even if it's a 4-footed someone, that can help. So if I'm stumbling, he can help. If I'm having problems with foggy headedness and thinking, then my service dog really steps in and he can help on those days too. And Laurel, I'm sure, can definitely tell you lots of things about all the ways that Candy helps. And when I say Laurel, I am talking about Candy, the wee service dog here in the channel. So, yeah. And Candy says you check into getting one. Yeah, I can't overstate it. I can't. Uh-oh. Well, I hope your couple of small health issues with your tests, I hope those go very well. Yeah. Yeah. Mine does too. And what's really frustrating is like you combine the head injury with the COVID fog, and it's like some days I do fine. Like today has been a high functioning day, but a couple of days ago, I could not put a sentence together. It uh, it's so frustrating. Anyway, that's just the way life goes. You just got to roll with the punches. So yes. And Laurel says, yes, they can do many times more than a person because they stay focused on tasks without panicking. Yes, yes, yes. I agree with that. Because panicking, I think, is sometimes human nature, and I really feel like it takes a lot of training to lower that panic. Like people in the military have said that when something went wrong, they fell back on their military training to keep them calmer. And with service dogs, they're trained to be calm. And the nature of service dogs is such that service dogs generally have a calm disposition anyway. So the calmness plus the training can make for a wonderful service dog. Oh, good. Laurel's getting it. I'm sorry, Lori is getting an updated booster on Tuesday. Good. Wow. Candy says she has 24 disabilities/disorders, and Candy does tasks for 12 of them. That's cool. Now, I have never added mine up. I have been afraid to, basically. Certainly Pipsy tasks for several. Okay, Lori says, well, Candy, I'm not sure how they can help me. There are a million different ways that service dogs can help. And Laurel, if you have time sometime, maybe we could do a live stream just on that. Because I know a lot of people too who are traveling these days, you're seeing more people with legit service dogs, not ESAs, but legit service dogs who are out there traveling with them. And one of the things that I think the general public needs to understand is that even when a service dog doesn't look like they're working, a lot of the times they are working. Like, okay, Pipsy gets his downtime and he gets his playtime. But Pipsy being a service dog, if we are out and let's say I am at a dog park somewhere and I am like throwing the ball and he is out catching it and he's running. If I fall, he's going to turn around and come to me. So even though he's not working, he can be at any second. And I think that might be a good live stream to do sometime to kind of help educate on some of the different ways that service dogs can help. Because certainly it's alerting, it's bracing, but it's like that is the tip of the iceberg. Like I just mentioned a few minutes ago that Tomlin helped with me remembering to take my meds. It's just a million different things that they can do. Gayle, you choose the time and I'll gladly do it. Cool. And Candy says that she has friends who have a special device so the dog can call 911. Nice. Now, I talked to somebody who had their phone, they had a landline, which is almost unheard of now, but hey, it still happens. And so what they did was they had a push button phone. They programmed all of the numbers on the phone to call 911. And so what they did was they trained in the event of the emergency for their dog to go and knock the phone off the hook and then press on the keypad because it would call 911. And then 911 would come out to her house even if somebody couldn't say something in the phone. So things like that. Okay, thank you. And Candy says, choose the time and I'll gladly do it. So that'll be phenomenal. I'll get with you on that. Women's Station Channel says, I have a string I can pull in my apartment with, which isn't helpful for everything. One of the things a service dog can do is they can be trained to pull strings. Yeah. So that's one of the million things that they can do. I think it would be hard for me to get diagnosed with all my disabilities. Doctors seem to sway from most of mine, I guess because they're from abuse. And frustratingly enough, that makes a difference. You know, I just, you know, and I hate to be this way, but when I go to a new doctor and they're like, oh, I see that you have a head injury, you know, how did that happen? Or I see that you have epilepsy. Do you know what caused it? And I say, yeah, it goes back to a head injury. Then when they ask what caused it, I've just started saying accident several years ago, because doctors would kind of, it's like if they hear abuse, depression, or anxiety, it's like they write you off, you know. So yeah, I hear that. And it's so frustrating. So, because we need good medical care. So now I haven't had any problems on that, like when I'm doing telemed, like when I'm out traveling, I'll do telemed a lot. Haven't you had any problems on telemed with that? But I don't know if it's because those sessions are so tightly focused or what, but I've had it a bunch of times in doctor's offices. And when I had the adrenal issues and I was going into the doctor's office and I was complaining about, you know, getting hot and shaky, getting sweaty, feeling weak, feeling tired, you know, the first thing they said was, had I been anxious? And that got old in a hurry, because I was like, no, I've not been anxious. No, it is not asthma. No, it is not blood sugar. So it just got to the point where I like hit them off at the pass. But even my regular doctor missed it. You know, he wasn't thinking, you know, any kind of adrenal at all. And it was not until I switched doctors temporarily, because he was also going through a cancer scare of his own at the same time that his daughter was going through cancer issues too. So he had, I think it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and she had a childhood cancer. So there was a lot of times where I needed to go to the doctor and I couldn't get in. So I went to another doctor temporarily until I could get to the point where I could go back to him. And it was the other doctor that said, hey, I want you to check your blood pressure when you have this problem, and just let me know what it is. Just make a list and bring it. And then I had some pain in my left side of my back, and I thought I probably had a kidney stone that just wasn't budging. And I went in to talk to her about that and gave her the blood pressure information. And she's like, well, we need to do an x-ray because of your potential kidney stone, because I'd had kidney stones. Like, that could be my middle name instead of Gayle. And so, boom, she actually listened to me and sent me for, I don't remember if it was an MRI or if it was just a regular x-ray. Seems like we started with a regular x-ray and then went to an MRI, but I don't really remember for sure. But anyway, that's when they found the mass on my adrenal gland. And my blood pressure had been going up, my blood sugar had been going up. I was having those spells, and boom, it was the mass on my adrenal gland. And I still don't know to this day if my regular GP would have caught it. But then when I went in to talk to him later, he went back to the anxiety when I was like, well, they're saying this could be my adrenal gland. And he's like, no, he said the adrenal gland is really like, you know, a 1 in a million disorder. And I'm not sure this fits. And I was like, well, if you dig a little deeper in the chart, you know, you'll see these test results. And then he was like, oh, and he apologized. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. But anyway. And Candy the wee service dog's making a really good point about Candy. She says Candy can be in another room and she knows when I'm having muscle spasms and cramps. I don't make any noise, so it must be that she can hear my breathing slightly. You know, that's a good point. I've had some times with Pipsy where, because I have with foot drop, it comes from a nerve in my back. And there's been a couple of times where Pipsy has alerted and then the symptoms came on like a minute or two later. So, yeah. He's not come from the other room, though. I will say that. So, yeah, isn't it weird where you can tell some medical places the actualities? I hear you about the realism. Yeah. It's frustrating, but it happens. The reason I know how many, because I see so many specialists to save time to look up all my health conditions. That's something I am just freaky about. I don't like having tons of doctors stirring a pot. We do have to be our own researchers for our medical. We do, and we have to be ready and willing to advocate for ourselves. And that's something that happens too. Like when I'm on the road and I'm on a road trip, and I'm seeing somebody on telemedicine, and I'm going to see them for like 5 minutes. But what they diagnose, may be like problems that I've had before. Like I did one telemedicine call where I'm like, okay, this is asthma. These are my symptoms. This is what's always happening. So I need a steroid dose pack. I need another inhaler and blah, blah, blah. So, sorry, speaking of, that's right there. So, having all that information right there and knowing what I need makes things so much smoother. Most of the time, I have a new GP, relatively new, a few years now. And most of the time, she'll just go ahead and write the prescriptions. And she'll say, okay, when you get out there and you start having trouble breathing, start with this medication, go with this medication, and then go with this medication, because I've seen her enough and she listens and she's caring and she's compassionate and she understands. And I drive over 3 hours each way, so 6+ hours round trip, just to see her, because those kinds of doctors are so rare. So, yeah. Okay. Lori says her foot drop is from the nerve in her head. I didn't know foot drop could be caused from that. That is good to know. I'm sorry you're having that problem, though. So, yeah. Crazy stuff here. Crazy stuff. So, okay. So I want to thank you all for hanging out. This has been a really fast hour, and I have enjoyed big time hanging out with you all. Okay, and Lori says I had to have a ton of doctors stirring the pot at the actual time period of the injuries to get all or any information I needed. That was actually dangerous for me. Yeah, I ran into that situation. That's about it being dangerous. And that's why I'm so freaky about having a ton of doctors, which is why I'm really glad I have a good gatekeeper. Because what happened to me was I was prescribed one medication by one doctor and one medication by another doctor. And the other doctor, doctor number one did fine. Doctor number two didn't look at the chart as closely as he should have, because he was busy kind of halfway dismissing my symptoms. And I was having some stomach problems at the time, and I was sleeping propped up. And he never even mentioned that. I did that because of what we'd learned because of my younger daughter. But his medicine that he prescribed went against one of the other medicines that I was taking, and I wound up in the hospital because of it. So, yeah. And she says the burning is a questionable anesthesia incident. Got it. Yeah. Scary when things go wrong and you've got a bunch of fingers in the pot. So yeah. So anyway, I want to thank you all again for hanging out with me tonight. You all have been amazing. Well, you taught me the worst of it too just this past year. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I don't know how I taught you, but okay. So, but you all, thank you for hanging out, and I appreciate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of conclude the live stream, and I will see you all again Saturday at 7. That's 7 Eastern time here on this channel. We always do the Saturday night live stream, unless like if there's a holiday on a Saturday, we do flip it over to Sunday, or you know, like if I'm sick or something weird like that. But as a general rule, we're here Saturday nights at 7. And okay, Candy says she'll share her conditions another time. We can talk about that when we do a stream about the dogs if you want to. That would be good. I hear you. They don't check. They don't. But so anyway, and then next week I've got the one about doing water in the van, the running water. So I'm so stoked about that. At least into the sink. So that video is coming out, and then I'll see you all again on Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. You too, Candy. You too. And remember, of course, we're always about the hashtag be bodacious, which means don't let life get in the way of living. Thanks for watching, and see y'all next week. Take care. Good night.